You're listening to Side by Side with Kathy Wilson. Episode 31. Duncan's first day on the job. Here it was only 8 in the morning, and our Mazda was on its homeward bound trip to Niagara. Ralph had pulled into the school's parking lot only a short time after Duncan and I greeted our morning. Eyes doing their best to stay open. I didn't even have my cup of Java in hand, and the bags were in the trunk. Hickory and Duncan were in the back seat, and we were on our way. Ralph must be totally fed up with his own cooking, but I still needed my coffee. I sincerely hope you plan on stopping for coffee before we get home. Yeah, I thought. We could pick up breakfast at Tim Hortons, and it will still be hot when we arrive. That okay with you? Strictly speaking, I was hoping for something a bit sooner, but not worth fussing about. That sounds good to me as long as I have my caffeine. I'm happy. How did the graduation go last night? Was your talk okay? It seemed to go over very well. The audience laughed in all the right spots, and Duncan sat beside me the whole time. He was probably wondering about lunch. That's what Hickory would have been thinking. You're so right, Ralph, and it couldn't come too soon in Hickory's view. Duncan is different. He pursues thoughts on a much higher level, much as you do. A philosopher. No doubt a lover of Plato. I met Duncan's foster family, and they were very kind people. You could tell they still cared for my great Dunc. When they were speaking with us afterwards, I felt so sad for them, and it seemed especially cruel not to give them a little private time with their puppy. That would be difficult with all the people around. Yes, I thought the same thing, but it turned out to be a simple matter after all. It was announced that the shop would be open for a few minutes for those who wished to buy a souvenir of the school. I just asked Duncan's foster family if they would hang on to him for me because the shop was going to be crowded and I wanted to buy my husband a jacket. They said they would be glad to stay with Duncan, and I was able to squeeze into the shop without getting Duncan stepped on. My toes weren't so lucky. So they had a chance for a private goodbye. Maybe that wasn't easy either. I doubt that it was. But I do know that what they did for me is beyond value, a true act of selfless love. Just saying thank you is so inadequate. Before I realized it, Ralph was turning into Tim Hortons' drive-thru. We were almost home. I suppose you want a large coffee with no cream or sugar. Do you want a ham and eggy thing? Yes, a ham and eggy thing will be just the thing. It goes as well with my large black coffee. With our order in hand, I felt so much anticipation as our driveway reached out to me. Home awaited our return. It seemed like forever since I had left for Oakville 3 weeks before. Hickory and Duncan rushed up the stairs. Duncan was curious and started his own private investigation. After all, this was to be his home, and he sensed my presence in each room. It wasn't long before he was making friends with Ralph's cat, Panda. How this pleased Ralph, and caused him to remark, "The amazing Dunc likes cats. You didn't tell me that." I didn't tell you because I didn't know. They don't have cats at the Lions Foundation, only dogs. Loads and loads of remarkably noisy dogs. Our late breakfast was now finished, and Ralph suggested that he would like to see Duncan at work. So how about going for a walk? This was a perfect opportunity to teach Dunc about going to the bank and paying a few bills while I was at it. Dunc, the bank is a total waste of time. You stand in line. Crazy Cat pays some bills and then we just go. No cookies, no treats. Maybe she will say good job and then that's it. Total waste of time. Well, Hickory, we get the walk, so that's something. Plus we're helping, and that's good too. Duncan, you're just wet behind the ears. In fact, you're soaked. It was a cool morning, but we dressed for the occasion. Fortunately, there wasn't any snow, just shivers. Duncan followed my directions, and Ralph watched him work with much interest. He marveled at Duncan stopping at both the down and the up curbs. Duncan is going to get a crick in his neck with all of his head twisting. I never noticed Hickory doing that. That's odd. A lot of people commented to me on Hickory's head turning. She isn't doing it now. She's not in harness. She's just out for a walk. After our bank visit, Ralph seemed well satisfied with Duncan's ability. I was told about all the things he had noticed my guide dog doing. He took you around a patch of ice and took you off the sidewalk when that kid ran past us. This guy really knows his job. I think he does it better than me. To hear the positive tone in Ralph's voice was beautiful music. I gave Ralph and Hickory a hug. Thank you, my girl, for showing the way. There are some who just take longer to see it. Early the next morning, as I selected my outfit to wear for the day, Ralph was being a prime worrywart. As I put on my angelic red shirt with the glitter angel motif, I silently speculated about what was giving him anxiety today. Have you explained to Duncan about this bazaar he's taking you to this morning? It's bound to be crowded. He would be better off staying here with Hickory and I. Yes, that's true. But this is a situation where I really need his help. It isn't easy getting around when everything is set up for the bazaar. Everything is different. And I don't want to crash. There are so many barriers, impossible obstacles. He'll be fine as long as he is near me. Here was an opportunity for my great Dunc to learn a few new routes and meet some of my friends, too. Our day was cool, but the sun was trying valiantly to shine. This was perfect bazaar weather, and I hoped that he would have lots of customers. As we entered the side door and climbed the stairs to the upper hall, Shirley came to my side and informed me that I would be helping at the knit and sew table. This was no surprise. It was my usual station to man. So this is Duncan. He's a big fellow. Big, shy, and gentle. He'll find a spot under the table and hide for the entire day. Oh, poor Duncan, no one will see him under the table. The tablecloths reach right down to the floor. Duncan should feel safe. Shirley was absolutely right about this, as was I. Neither of us anticipated the unbridled curiosity of those attending our sale that day. I checked out our section of table, familiarizing myself with the hand-knit sweaters, scarves, and gloves, along with the prices of each. I smiled at the baby sets with hat, sweater, and soft blankets. Somebody's darlings would be warm this winter. Joy wandered over with a cup of coffee for me. I knew you needed your coffee to begin the day, and I wanted to meet your buddy, but I see you left him at home. No, he's here, under the table. Duncan, come and meet Joy. She's a great friend of mine. So you'll like her despite the fact that she is into cats. Duncan appeared and made friends with Joy. His long tail swished greetings. Duncan says he likes cats too. All at once Dunc was gone. He had noticed the influx of people who were rushing the doors of the Candy Cane Express, which was the title given to our bazaar. No more chit-chat. We were open for business. Good morning, Kathy. Good to see you back in time for the bazaar. I need a scarf and hat. Are there any in blue? Betty was looking at the scarves, but she was paying more attention to the floor around my feet. Don't you have your new guide dog with you? Here, Betty, this is an enticing shade of turquoise. It would complement your coat. Yes, Duncan is taking a nap under the table. Of course, Betty had to look and interrupt the nap with coaxing oohs and ahs. Duncan wasn't budging from his preferred location, and I explained that Duncan was very shy. And so it progressed as the day surged forward. There were plenty of sales and always that same question. Didn't you bring your dog today? Time after time, some curious individual would peek under the tablecloth, and Duncan just tried his level best to pretend no one was there. At long last, he spotted a large empty box nearby that he appropriated. When turned on its side, the box was big enough to hold about half of my big guy. The back and larger half sort of stuck out the back of the box, but Dunc decided that it would be okay. It would just have to do. This Dunc solution provided added comic amusement to what was fast becoming Duncan's debut, whether he wanted it to or not. Have you had your lunch yet, Kathy? Shirley was making certain that all of her helpers were well fed. I'm fine here. I don't want to take Duncan out and about with all these crowds. He's better off where he is. I bought a dozen meat pies so I can bake a couple of those for Ralph and I when I get home. We were home by 3 and Ralph asked me if he should heat up a cup of soup. You could do that, or I could put 2 of these meat pies in the oven. Which would you prefer? What temperature should I set the oven? 350 should do the job. Are you okay with 1 or would 2 be better? Duncan stretched himself out on the floor beside the dining room table. Hickory, there were so many people there today. I thought they should all just go home. Do I have to learn all of their names? Hickory gave an exuberant laugh. No, silly, only a few of them. It won't be hard for a smart guy like you. Use your canine wits and good looks, and those treats will just come rolling in. Does Crazy Cat go to the bazaar every day? Quit worrying, Duncan. It doesn't happen every day. Sometimes she takes in a parade. What's a parade? Groaned Big Dunc. Is it as bad as a bazaar? Oh, much worse. You'll have to march and twirl a stick around. This will be fun, Hickory schemed.